Man, it's been a bumpy week. This week's project, things happened, and it will have to be delayed for a little longer. The stuff for the boots for Mospeada, still printing, so I figured, when in doubt, we'll do a nice casting video. I've got a couple of things I need to cast, so without further ado, let's get into it. So I have a couple of quick projects to take care of. I'm kind of experimenting with a couple of things, so I figure I'll bring you along for the ride. But today we are going to be casting, as soon as I put on a pair of gloves. So today we are casting Star Trek Comm badges in Zinc. I'm working on a costume. I'm going to need Comm badges. These seem a little small, but it's what the scale says they're supposed to be, so I'm going to trust that, but let's get into it. I just tend to store my my prints in talc powder. It's a baby powder. It's actual talcum powder. It's older, so it's not the cornstarch. I've just dusted everything off. They seem a little small, but it's what the internet says they're supposed to be, so, you know, who am I to argue with the internet? Center things up a little bit here for you. So get everything all set up, ready to go. I'm using fresh Petrobond for the first part here. And I'm going to put it through a mesh strainer. It's just for the top layer. I just want good detail. There's a lot of crisp detail on all of these, so I'm not quite sure how well this is going to turn out, but you know what the heck, we'll give it a shot, right? And then I'm just using pre-used for the fill. Doesn't really matter at this point because all the detail has either been captured or not. And at this point, there's not much I can do about it without just re-ramming everything up. These tiny little points have very little chance of actually coming out. But I figured, yeah, what the heck. Before I go and make a base for it so it all flows evenly and then I cut the base off, might as well try it. Alright. Little actual parting compound. This stuff a little dab will do you. Do not need a lot. Since there's no real detail on this side, I'm not going to bother with facing sand. I'm just going to use the standard stuff I've been using. do one at a time. And a couple of big decisions to make here. I have very little hope for these little spots coming out, but you know, you never know. I've already remodeled this with a more draft. It's not quite done yet, which is why I'm doing this one. I'm expecting a lot of tear out. It's got to tear out, it's not the end of the world. I can smooth it flat. I can smooth it and then cut the center part out. Honestly, as long as the outline's fine. Yeah, it fixes just about everything else. It's not perfect. It'll do. Now this one's almost completely undercut. See, tore a little bit out there and there. Kind of what I was expecting. So this one, I have very little hope for, but I'm gonna try anyway. I was getting way too ambitious when I modeled this one. I have way too many sharp cuts, thin walls, you know, all the things you're not supposed to do. Yeah, that one's full of. So we'll see. Yeah, the whole thing tore out. Kind of expected it. I have no idea how much of that you got before the camera died, so let's pull you in and show you what happened with this one. So all of this little part right here tore out. I kind of expected that. I need to remodel it and make these walls just a little thicker with a little more draft. You can see there's kind of a little bit of draft in it, but not enough in this section. This little ridge. And then the emblem itself needs to draft just a little more. And again, I was a little ambitious when I was modeling. It's kind of what I do. So I'm going to set it for a pour. We'll be back in a second. All right, we're up to temp. We should be good to go. Well, that could have gone a heck of a lot smoother. First one wasn't bad. Pouring the ink, it kind of got a little weird. Luckily this is galvanized steel, so don't have to worry about it melting through. Gonna let this do its thing. We'll be back in a minute. All right, it's had time to do its thing. So let's see what we got. Well, melted all the way through, that's good. This one's got promise. Look at that. That's not too shabby. That almost gives me hope for this one. Not really, but you know, I can pretend. Man, let me pull you in so you can take a look at this. If I had just a slightly better, it looks like this one came almost completely out. Let's pop these up and see what we got. Man, the points even came out. So close. That's why we do this, right? Experiment, we have fun. We don't get upset at failures. Failures are how we learn. That one turned out okay. I'll have to cut out the little recesses. These are supposed to be gold, by the way. I may electroplate them. I'm not quite sure yet. I don't know if I'm ready to get into electroplating. Or I may just cast them out of brass and then put a silver insert in. Like I said, this is just an experiment to have, you know, something to do today. Something to get me out of the house. So let me clean these up a little bit and we'll see where we are at. If I'm being honest, the Dremel's starting to freak me out a little bit too. Jeez Louise, running out of tools I can use. I should go to the bandsaw. It would make quick work of all of this and take me a few seconds. Still a little gun shy about it though. But back on the horse and all that jazz, right? So this is just to test the process. It turned out not too shabby. I could have gone a little farther on this one, but since I'm already missing all of this right here, I didn't bother with cleaning up the inside. This one, on the other hand, came out remarkably well. Hey, no, ignore me. Ignore me. I mean, focus. There we go. That one turned out fantastic. I really like that one. This one, not horrible, but I can see if I add a little more angle along the edge here, I can probably get both sides. I wasn't sure if it would print or cast all the way to the end, and it did, and I'm super happy with that. Again, 2 test pieces. It came out fantastic. We should be back to normal stuff next week. Should be a quick one, right? Just there was nothing really went wrong. There weren't any catastrophic failures that I didn't just try and ignore. All in all, pretty happy with it. Now I have one to put on and to see if it looks right. I think it's too small. The internet says it's not. I don't believe the internet, but you know, who am I to argue? I may try casting them in brass. It's cold out, so I don't want to pull out the propane. Paul from Paul's Garage. You guys do follow Paul, right? If you're looking at anything I do, that kid does some fantastic stuff too. Said his can get up to brass. I don't know, but we'll give it a shot. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. Next week we should be back to the Mospeada. I have a good chunk of the boots printed and is printing, so hopefully we can get onto that next week. Either way, thanks for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. Hope to see you next time.